We are talking about the Doppler effect. All right. So let's pretend we had a water spider sitting in a pond, bouncing up and down, creating waves. So those waves are going out in concentric circles like that. Good with that? So then the follow-up question is, what happens if the water spider starts to move? Okay. So they're kind of like following the waves. So if you look at this, versus if they're going away, how would you describe the frequency that the waves are reaching the perceiver as the source of wave approaches that perceiver? It would be increase. Everybody go with that? It'd be a higher frequency. What do we, if this is a sound, okay, so this was a water wave. This effect, Doppler effect, works with all waves. What would we perceive if we had a higher frequency of sound? Sam, higher pitch. And when it was moving away from you, what would you describe? How would you describe the frequency? Lower pitch and lower frequency. And you would hear, if it was a sound wave, you would hear a lower pitch. Okay. We have examples of this all over the place. And now that you are aware of this, you'll probably be able to pick those out. Here is one example. Okay. So did you hear the drop in pitch? Okay. Now, it is getting louder because it's getting closer. That's not the Doppler effect. Okay. That's just a consequence of intensity. You're just eating jelly that's thicker as you get closer to the source. That makes sense? Not Doppler. Okay. If it's a analogy that I used. Okay. If you can keep beat, if you're good at keeping rhythm, keep rhythm with this. Did you hear it? Did you like not only did the pitch decrease, but the tempo decreased as well. Why is that? So let's pretend that every other wave was a different note. Like, okay? It's reaching you sooner here versus here. It takes longer for those to hit, so it's like a slower beat. Crazy. Cool with that? Doppler effect. Okay? All right. So, oh my. Okay, stay facing forward. It'd be better if I hit you in the back of the head rather than in the face. So face, like listen. Ooh. Try that again. No, I hit her chair. Oh, misfire. I'm gonna run out of bullets. Oh, John. Okay, do you hear it? Sorry, Kaya. It's Nerf, guys. Nothing new about that. All right, so thank you. Oh, that's ripped. That's no bueno. Let me see my sixth. Nice. Good call. Awesome. Thank you. Tell your neighbor. Correct answer is just B. Okay. Yes, both happens, but the Doppler effect is just the shift in the pitch, not the volume. Good with that? Give that one a shot. Tell your neighbor. Correct answer is C. Okay, so um, no, no. Yeah. All right, give that one a shot. Correct answer is? Correct answer is B. B, beautiful butterflies. So here we see the pattern. This is a third of the speed of the wave. We'll go like 2/3 the speed of the wave. See how the frequency is higher here? It's like, oops, this is over here. Okay, it's a more pronounced effect. Okay. Tell your neighbor what you think. Correct answer is? Correct answer is C. The pitch is lower, but it has a decrease in pitch, meaning it's speeding up. Okay? However, if you are on the receiving end of that bomb, for some reason we don't have a recording of this. Yeah.
We don't have to drop a bomb, drop a rock.
Okay. Correct answer is? Everybody go with C? Okay. Tell your neighbor. Correct answer is A. Here's a lame visual of this. Ready? Okay.
You may have noticed that while driving your car past a loud source of music, you can hear the pitch of the music changing, higher on the way toward the sound source and lower as you move away. This is one example of the Doppler effect. We can illustrate this example with a quick schematic animation where a 400 Hz sound source is stationary. So we see waves radiating away from this source as concentric circles, and we see the location of a listener, and the listener is hearing the 400 Hz waves as they arrive. Now the listener starts approaching the source. On the way toward the source, the listener runs into wave crests at a faster pace, leading to a higher perceived frequency of 420 Hz. The listener pauses for a bit, and we're back to 400 Hz. Finally, while moving away from the source, the wave fronts hit the listener at a slower pace, leading to a lower perceived frequency of 380 Hz. This phenomenon is what we'll call the moving listener case of the Doppler effect in this video.
Thanks. But what if it's reversed and the car is stationary and the person is moving? Great question, Bobby. That actually causes the same Doppler effect. If the sound source is stationary and the observer is moving, as the observer moves toward the stationary sound source, the observed wavelength is still decreased, and therefore the observed frequency is still increased. And the reverse is true as the observer moves away from the stationary sound source.
Okay, so next time you are driving down the interstate and you see some like construction zone coming up, roll your windows down and listen. You might be surprised. All right. So, what happens if the source is moving the same speed, or source of wave is moving the same speed as the wave itself? What you're doing is you're able to keep up with the waves that you've made in the past. Okay? And so what you get are overlapping waves, and this is constructive interference. Get with that? Okay. If that's the wave that you're making. If you go faster than the wave, then you are overpassing waves that you've created in the past. If we're talking about sound waves, yes. Okay. Now, here it creates like this cone or this V. Boating, when you go up to a marina, what's the speed limit? They say what? No wake zone. Yes? No wake zone? Okay. So, what does this look like from a boat point of view? A wake. When you go faster than a water wave, you create a wake. Okay? So when they say no wake zone, what they want you to do is go slower than the speed of a water wave. Because otherwise you make this really big constructive interference wave pattern and it shakes all the boats, dings them up with you rocking this stuff. Good with that? Okay. Now, if we applied this to sound waves, this wave would be this constructive interference. This is sonic boom. Okay. As you go faster, the wake becomes more narrow, which you can probably, if you've been on a boat, recall that. As you go faster, the wake gets more narrow. It'll spread out eventually. Okay. This is exactly what happens when you go faster than the speed of sound. You create this wake that's perceived as a sonic boom. Okay? Okay. So, um, the jets that were out on the aircraft carrier, they may or may not have been going faster than the speed of sound. This scenario here, they were totally not going the speed of sound, faster than the speed of sound. How do I know that? You're not allowed to go supersonic, meaning faster than the speed of sound, above civilian airspace. Okay. Um, the sonic boom would cause a lot of damage. Um, the months after 9/11, a lot of Air Force jets were flying around patrolling major cities. And there's an unidentified airplane approaching Chicago. Two jets went supersonic over suburbia of Chicago, blew out windows. People would not be standing if that jet was going faster than the speed of sound. I don't know. That's a good question. Um, so they are. My understanding is the next generation of fighter jets. They're trying to create as a low profile to go faster than the speed of sound, but have their sonic boom not knock down the army that they're trying to like fight. Does that make sense? Like I've also heard of like um, in like Afghanistan, there were some U.S. soldiers that were pinned down, and some uh, Air Force pilots went supersonic over Taliban to knock them out, give the guys a chance to run. Um, yeah. So so what about this cone that you see? Do we have a water bottle that they're okay sacrificing for science? Like, oh, like like a plastic one. You all right with that letting go? Like, sir, it's going for a good cause. All right. So we're all good with this trick. We know the cap's gonna go flying. I'm not worried about that. What I want you to notice, watch the bottle. Look at the bottle. Oh, I don't know if you saw that on the film. Yeah, did you guys see the cloud? Okay. Whenever you go from high pressure to low pressure, you cause the water vapor in the air to condense, form a cloud. That's exactly what's happening here. Okay, going from high pressure to low pressure. This is what happens in every jet that flies fast. It's not even super like airline jets don't go faster than the speed of sound, but they create this vapor trail. If you've ever been sitting in the seat that's like a wing seat, you can see the wing. You'll see a vapor trail form on the edge of the wing. It's not exhaust. It's just as the air goes over the wing, it goes from high pressure to low pressure, creating this vapor trail that's the thing that you can see that trails the jet. It's just ice particles because it's so cold up there. Good with that? Okay. This, back in the 90s, they had a supersonic jet called the Concorde, and it would fly from Europe to the United States back and forth across the Atlantic. This video was recorded from a boat floating in the Atlantic. Okay, notice how far away the Concorde is. Okay, okay, how big of a boom that was for how far away that was. Okay, so the pattern, it's not a V, it's a cone. And if you're sitting on the edge of this cone right here, this is where the boom occurs. And it's going to happen the whole time. It's not just when you break the sound barrier. It's just that you're making a wake, just like a boat makes a wake. Okay. So this is the same thing that happens with an explosion. It creates this high pressure shock wave. You can watch it. You see how it ripples the ground. Okay. So the music on this is kind of weird, but you can see the shock wave. You see how it's like distorting light, like that's the shock wave. So the fire burns stuff. This stuff knocks things over, like a concussion blast. You see that right there? Okay. Um, the loudest known sound has been a volcano. Can't remember when it erupted. It was way back when, like 1800s ish. It was somewhere in the Philippines, and they said that you could hear it in Australia, and it sounded like a shotgun blast. Okay, this is not that recording, but this is a volcano. Um, you can see the shock. You see how it's forming clouds, the high pressure, low pressure. It does. Oh, you mean ripples? It does. It's just the water is so choppy, just from natural occurring waves that you don't. It's not that. Um, so this is cool. I can't do this here, but like at Purdue, went to a chemistry class, and they lit balloons that had one had hydrogen, like boom. The other one had just pure oxygen. Then they mixed hydrogen and oxygen. This thing, like, you felt it. And like boom, and it like made a shock wave, like it made ripples on the screen. Um, that's pretty cool. Um, so we've got cars that go faster than the speed of sound, like rocket cars. You can see the shock waves being developed here. Okay. The fastest. When was when was the first time that we had a man-made thing go faster than the speed of sound? A whip. Yep. Make sure I don't smack anybody. Oh, weak. That pop. sonic boom. Okay, the tip of the whip is going faster than the speed of sound when you crack it. Okay, you can do this with a towel on your little brother. Okay, aim that pop. 3 in a row. Well, that's asking a lot. Nope. 1, 2, 3. There we go. That on record too. Yeah. I found one in Mexico, like way back in the day. They have a lot of leather products. All right. So, so they recorded this in a special camera, and they can see the shock wave. Right there, see that?
Right there, you can see the moment it breaks the sound barrier. Right there, you can see the moment it.
See that? Little sonic boom. So, anything that's going faster than the speed of sound creates a sonic boom. Bullets create a little sonic boom. Um, Talking to veterans who have been in combat, I say, you know, you're close to being shot when you hear 2 booms, 2 bangs. One from the bullet going past your head, creating a little sonic boom, as illustrated here. The second bang from the gun going off, like a second later, depending on how far away they are. Pretty crazy. You can see the little sonic boom, little shock wave. You'll see it going. You see that? The reason you could see it is because it's from a shot from so far away. Okay? So, you know how, I don't know if you ever shot a BB gun or a paintball gun, and you can see, sometimes you can see the BB gun, but you can see the paintball gun go as you shot it. But if you're looking across, you won't be able to see the paintball gun because you're looking down the path that it's traveling. This is how we were able to see that as we were looking down it. Notice it lobbed like a football because it's so far away. Okay. This is a similar type thing. This is a long way away, but it doesn't look like it. But you can see the shock wave the bullet's producing. Cool with that. Um, radar guns and Doppler radar use the Doppler effect as well. So the radar gun shoots a certain frequency of radar going out. If the car was stationary, it would bounce back the same frequency. But if it's moving, it's going to bounce back a different frequency. The faster the car is going, the higher that frequency is going to be. And so you can calculate how fast the car is moving based upon that returning frequency. Okay, and the same is true. You can do the same math for a car going away from you. Okay, so it can get you coming and going. Okay? So hanging like CDs in the rear view or like by your rear view mirror, that is total hoax. Like that doesn't do a thing. The only way you'd be able to prevent that is if you had some kind of stealth capabilities and put that on your car. Pretty sure that's not available to the public. Doppler radar uses the same idea to track weather systems and stuff. Yep.
What are those like radar detector things like work? Like I know like some people like have it in the car that
It
tells them.
it reads. There's a radio or a radar frequency being emitted in a vicinity. Like it can pick up, like, hey, someone's shooting this frequency out. So, good with that? All right. That's the lesson for today.